how is it okay that they're going to lose their health care so that billionaires and billionaire families, I'm not just even picking just on you, but billionaire families like your own, can get a tax break? How is that worth it?
I'm not going to respond to your question.
I think the answer is because it's not worth it.
Apart from being a human melting candle, Linda McMahon is a billionaire, apparently worth $3,000 million plus. She's also the Education Secretary. In the first Trump administration, she was the small business administration leader. And now she runs the education department. Really, it's a long line of morons and destructive, derisive individuals to run Donald Trump's education departments. First, Betsy DeVos, the pyramid scheme loving, multi-level marketing, I guess, Amway, it made her rich. That's where she got her money. Her brother, Eric Prince, the mercenary, all fascists. They want to destroy the country. They want to take away from millions, if not hundreds of millions of people, the ability to change their station in life through education, to maybe get to a point where they're worth all the money. These people, Linda McMahon, Betsy DeVos, they're just two sides of the same coin, right? Linda McMahon's net worth is tied to that of her husband, Vince, who has a net worth of $3.1 billion as of mid-March 2025, according to Forbes. Linda McMahon's financial disclosures to the U.S. Office of Government Ethics showed she has more than $2 million in assets, mostly in equity and bond funds. Her financial disclosures list hundreds of millions of dollars in combined assets with Vince and her two children, including more than $50 million, the minimum amount disclosed, in TKO Group Holdings, which is the parent company of Ultimate Fight Championship, or UFC, and World Wrestling Entertainment. She was before a committee yesterday in the House of Representatives where Greg Casar, an absolute rising star in the Democratic Party, whose politics are good, whose heart is good, he is a decent man. And he held her feet to the fire, so much so that the committee chairman tried to interrupt him from his questioning, tried to get him to stop saying what he was saying and entering into the congressional record the things he was asking. And Linda McMahon was just flatly refusing to answer the questions about this insane tax cut bill that Donald Trump is putting forth that is going to benefit her. It's going to benefit Vince McMahon. It's going to benefit the most astronomically wealthy people in the country at the expense of you. Then unless you make like $500,000 a year, you're not going to see a benefit. In fact, your taxes will likely go up. You will be hurt by this. They will be aided by this bill. And that line of questioning in a direct fashion to her about her net worth was apparently too much for Republicans. Watch this introduction, and then I got another clip where it really starts to go off the rails.
The gentleman from Texas, Mr. Casar.
Secretary McMahon, thank you for joining us here today. Right now, the administration that you're a part of is pushing for a massive tax break for billionaires paid for by massive cuts to health care and food assistance for everyday Americans, including to the children that you're charged with educating. You yourself and your family, as a billionaire family of wealth of about $3.2 billion, can you share with us, do you know how much you and your family will receive in tax benefit if this Republican tax proposal gets pushed through?
No, I've not sat down and worked with my accountants on what tax. I can tell you most.
You have a general sense.
Well, I can tell you
millions
last
or
time
tens of millions?
taxes went through, I paid more.
And so you think that under this proposal, you will not, like the other billionaires, get millions or tens of millions of dollars in tax benefit?
I think this is kind of a ridiculous line of
No,
questioning.
it's not ridiculous, because here's what's important. The biggest bill being pushed by your administration for your average extremely wealthy person would give about a $4 million benefit. Your family is worth about $3.2 billion. So I imagine that you'd get millions of dollars in benefit from this tax bill. Does that make sense? Does that check out?
I don't know. I'd have to let you know.
Let's just
ask the member
Chairman,
how this refers to education.
My question.
Interrupting. It's a valid question. It's relative to his committee work there. There is legislative, a duty to understand what members of the cabinet believe about a tax bill when she runs the education department. It seems well within bounds. He's not name calling. He's not defaming her. He's just talking about the facts. And the chairman cuts in because he can't handle it. It begins to get more aggressive. It begins to have her be more recalcitrant about not answering the question. She says flatly, I'm not going to respond. Watch this.
Secretary. So, okay, look, there are families watching at home from my district that could lose their health care. And they want to know why their health care would get taken away. And what it's paying for is overwhelmingly tax cuts for the wealthiest people in the country. And so what would you spend the $4 million on that you would get a benefit of at least $4 million?
Let's get to your educational line of questioning.
What would those
that we
families
deal with in this committee?
What would those families who lose their health care, who are watching, what would you spend the $4 million on that's worth more than their health care?
I'm not going to address the questions relative to me personally. I'm here as the Secretary of Education, and I'm
Okay, so as the Secretary
answer
of
the
Education,
questions
then,
relative to education.
as the Secretary of Education, do you think, yes or no, that kids will do better off in school if they have health care and their food needs met? Yes or no?
We all do better, and children will do better in school if their health needs are met. I agree with that.
Good. And so I guess for those kids, which there's going to be hundreds of thousands or millions of kids that lose their health care, how is it okay that they're going to lose their health care so that billionaires and billionaire families, I'm not just even picking just on you, but billionaire families like your own, can get a tax break? What, if you don't even know how many millions of dollars it is you'd get, how is that worth it?
I'm not going to respond to your question.
I think the answer is because it's not worth it. It's not. If you got $3.2 billion or $5 billion or $10 billion,
going off the premise that there's going to be health care that is going to be removed from these children, I'm not sure that is a correct premise. So
every single organization that's looked at this bill knows that millions of people will lose their health care. The latest estimate is at least 11 million people and families, because you wouldn't get the enormous savings that the Republican majority on this committee is looking for unless you kick those millions of people off of their health care. So how can we educate our kids if they don't have a roof over their heads, if they can't see a doctor, if they don't have food assistance? So
we need more of this. Look, what is worth more than a child's health care? What is worth more than a full stomach for a child to send them to school so they have the ability to focus on learning, on the ability to live the American dream that Republicans always love to talk about? Giving them the tools to pull themselves up by the bootstraps. But she needs another $4 million on top of the $3.2 billion. She needs another 4 onto the pile of $3,200 million. That's what's most important for Republicans. That's what's most important for billionaires. Imagine what could be done with that money. And that's just one billionaire of thousands and thousands in the country who are going to be getting millions of dollars in tax benefits from this bill that is going to rob poor people of security, of health care, of literal food. It's not rhetorical. I'd love your answers. You can comment below. That would be fantastic. You can also call the voicemail line 714-576-4054. You can email me daily@dollemore.com. You can help support this work. First and foremost, subscribe to this channel. That goes a long way towards supporting independent media, making us too big to mess with, or at least the bigger we are, the harder we are to mess with by the Trump administration, which we are seeing come down the pike. Become a channel member, $2 a month. You can also go to patreon.com/idoubtitpodcast. I'm on social media just about everywhere at Dollemore. I'd love to see you there. And I will see you next time. Be genuine. Take care of one another.